All right, guys, so our first topic, we'd like to talk to you about the WHC, the Waste and Hygiene Compartment, which is a fancy name for bathroom, right? It's your space bathroom. I had some training on it with Glenn Johnson last week, and he mentioned that some of the guys and gals who come back, or maybe not some, but at least one, said that they actually prefer the space station bathroom to their bathroom at home. Now, I don't know if that means that they live in a cave, because one of the first things I wanted to do coming back from my shuttle missions was to use the toilet at home. At home, I missed my toilet. So what's it like for you guys with the space station? Is it much nicer? How's it been working? What do you feel about this whole subject?
I like using the space toilet because the mechanisms in the toilet kind of shake and vibrate, and it gives you a foot massage at the same time you're using it.
All right, so you do prefer that toilet to your toilet at home, it sounds like, Don.
Yeah, and you see, the toilet at home, though, I got to clean that one, and this toilet, Dan's cleans it. So this is the best of both worlds.
Maybe when you get back, you can get Dan to clean your toilet at home, and you'd be that much better off when you're at home.
Yeah. But I don't get a foot massage from my toilet at home.
I don't think Dan's going to be willing to help you with that.
No, that would be going a little bit too far.
What is the state of the toilet today? I've been hearing you guys have been working on it a bit.
Well, the basic function of the toilet, as we understand them on planet Earth, essentially is fine. That works fine. But what we're not able to do right now, which is a little bit of a concern from what we call water balance, is we can't turn today's coffee into tomorrow's coffee. So we're working on the water processor that does all of that heavy lifting and work. So
the espresso machine is broken.
Okay, if you don't mind, give us a little more detail on this, because this is quite a difference now between what we had previously on the shuttle and other spaceships, and now what you guys have going up there. So, and I know there's reasons for it. It contributes to what we're going to be doing in the future exploration. Tell us a little bit more about that whole process there.
Well, actually, it boils down to trying our best to close the environmental control and life support system loops. So what you'd like to be able to do is minimize what you carry to space, and that's critically important because rocket fuel is expensive, and right now we spend probably 20-fold. It takes about 20 pounds of rocket fuel and/or tank and/or other piece parts of a rocket to get 1 pound of payload into space. So all the water that we have here, we would like to be able to recycle it. So the way we get rid of water, be it through exhaling, urination, all of that, you'd like to be able to take and get every molecule of water back into the loop here, and that's what we try to do, and that's what that system does ordinarily.
And the system consists of three major pieces. One is the space toilet, and that's plumbed into this other great big box that rumbles and massages your feet. And out from that comes water, and that water goes into our new galley. And then you go get your bag of coffee and make a coffee. So
the issue we have today is there's a leak in that water processing unit. So right now, the step that goes from collecting urine, the water processing step, condensate from the air and urine and so forth, processing that to make it pure and clean and be able to feed our galley or our kitchen. That part, we've shut it down while we troubleshoot and try to figure out how to repair an internal leak, what appears to be. So we were talking about this earlier, and we, in general, on planet Earth, look at things that break as an opportunity to buy new tools. Here in space, when things break, it's an opportunity to have a little fun, turn some wrenches. So we'll hopefully get started on some of the repairs early next week when all the smart folks on the ground figure out exactly what they'd like us to do.
And Mass, I think NASA designed our drink bags so that you can't see through them on purpose, just for occasions like this.
How was it for you guys to make that adjustment? I mean, maybe you don't want to think about this too much and you want to change the subject, but I mean, when you look at your drink bag, that you're going to have tomorrow, or when you look at it after it's filled, do you think about where that water came from? Does it freak you out at all, or do you just not think about it, or does it take some getting used to, or did you secretly bring water with you as a backup?
Sometimes you don't want to think about things too hard. I think John Young has actually pointed out it probably doesn't take as much courage to fly in rockets as it does to drink urine that's been processed into water, which is what we do up here. But it all works pretty good and it tastes just fine.
And what about for our long-term plans? I mean, this is probably something that's pretty important to be able to do if we're going to go beyond low Earth orbit.
Closing the water balance the best you can for bringing human beings away from planet Earth is really important, and it costs a lot to bring the water. Water can be used for radiation shield from galactic cosmic rays and solar protons. Water has 101 uses once you get away from planet Earth, and a lot of places that we're interested in going, the moon, Mars, it's going to be hard to get water from these places, at least initially, and being able to recycle as much water as you can is going to be important.
And what have we learned? You guys got any ideas for improvements? I like, Don's foot massage idea was pretty good. Any other improvements you would recommend for the future space toilets?
Well, you definitely need spare parts, and you need to be able to have things so that you can jury rig it back together again, because once you leave planet Earth and you're headed to Mars, it might be a couple years before you can come back and a couple years before you can get parts. And you need to make this simple enough so that you can fix it. And that's what we're kind of doing now on Space Station. I call this engineering research. It's not science. It's not science research. It's engineering research. We're figuring out how to make pieces of hardware so that they're robust and they work. And when we do venture away, we can count on them working, or when they do break, we can count on the crews being able to fix them.
And I think this is our last question regarding this topic. But you guys do have 2 bathrooms up there, right?
We have 2 full baths, and I guess we maybe have 2 half baths, depending on how you look at it. We also have toilets in the Soyuz spacecraft, but that's a resource we'd like to preserve.
All right, and if something were to go, I mean, if all of your toilets were down, you also have backup even for that as well, going back to what the Apollo guys used way back when, right?
Yeah, we can suffer quite a few failures, and I guess suffer is an adequate word for that. But yeah, we can go pretty deep in the failures and still survive.
Well, there's lots of ways to describe how big the space station has gotten and how advanced we are. But I think one way might be if you look at when we first started, when John Glenn 50 years ago had his flight. He didn't have very much going on in the way of a bathroom, and now you guys are in this gigantic palatial space station with two full bathrooms and a few half bathrooms and other options, so that you would hopefully never have to resort to the archaic ways of conveniences that they experienced 50 years ago.